Hey everyone, we're going to go ahead and get started now. Dr. Dupont is going to go ahead and start the presentation off on his screen, and I'll kind of kick things off. Again, we are so excited to welcome you guys to our LSU Online webinar. We are going to be talking today with our keynote speaker, Dr. Randall Dupont, about how to navigate your career through a COVID-19 environment. Again, we're so glad that you guys are joining us. Dr. Dupont, can you go on to the next slide? So we're going to kick off things on our agenda today with our keynote from Dr. Dupont, as well as some information and insight into LSU Online and the Bachelor's of Business Administration. Please, if you have any questions that you might have, put those into the questions box of our chat, and we will definitely address those at the end of our webinar. And again, we're so excited to have you guys today joining us. Next slide. So my name is Kristen Boudreaux with LSU Online. I am an enrollment concierge. Our coordinator and concierge team is the first point of contact for all of our LSU Online students. And as an enrollment concierge, I work with our students through the application process and assist you guys with the onboarding once you're accepted to one of our programs. And again, Dr. Dupont is the Dean of the College of Business with LSU Alexandria, and he's going to start a brief introduction in his keynote.
Kristen, thank you very much. Appreciate the introduction. I'm the Dean of the LSUA College of Business, and I want to say welcome to everyone. I've been, before coming into academia, I was a human resource director for a major utility company for about 15 years. So what I'd like to do is to share with you what I've learned over those years, some of the key resources. Let's take a look first at the career landscape that we're under. The scope of unemployment. Right now, we are going through incredible change in the employment landscape, and this has got tremendous potential for your career. The chart you'll see on the right-hand side shows the unemployment rate. Up until recently, we had about 5 million unemployed, but with the pandemic, we approached 23 million people unemployed as a result of it. That's an unemployment rate of 15%. So just tremendous and unprecedented in our time frame. If you would, look at this chart and you'll see that the most recent recession was during the Great Recession of 2008, 2009. At that time, we reached about 10% unemployment. If you go back to the early 80s, another high point, we reached about 11% unemployment. But we've been keeping track of unemployment data since the late 1940s, and we have never reached 15% unemployment nationwide. So these are unprecedented levels. Now, older workers, many have retired as a result of this pandemic, but at the same time, many older workers are being called back. So if you look at the chart on the side here, you'll see, I think it's a very encouraging chart. The Federal Reserve keeps track of how many people quit jobs. Okay, and you'll see basically at the end of the last recession, around 2010, you had a number, basically as this line is going up, what it's showing is that more and more people are quitting. So we reached the bottom at the end of the last recession. And for the last decade, the employment picture has looked incredibly good. Because why? You can tell by this line, as people are willing to quit their job and find other jobs, basically this line will go up. What's happened though in recent months is you'll see is that we now basically are pretty close to where we were at the end of the last recession. So what I'm looking for and what I find really encouraging about this is we're nearing that bottom point. And as we get close to the bottom, you're going to begin to see this line go up. And as people feel comfortable quitting their jobs again and looking for new jobs, that is a positive sign on the labor market. The University of Chicago did a study not too long ago, and in that study, they were looking at which industries can have the greatest potential of remote jobs and what parts of the country can have it. Let's look on the right-hand side of this, and you'll see The greatest share of remote job potential comes in education, professional jobs, management jobs, finance and insurance, and in information. Anywhere from 70 to 80% of the jobs in those industries can be done remotely. Now, what you're going to see with this pandemic is that as trends that were already started before the pandemic basically have been accelerated. So you're going to see perhaps an acceleration of remote jobs going forward. Take a look at the recent announcement by Google. They are going to have all of their workers work from home all the way through next summer. What jobs are not really good for remote work? Accommodation and food, agriculture, retail trade, construction, logistics, all those at the bottom of the list, under 20%. Now, the study by the University of Chicago also looked at what metropolitan areas have the greatest potential for remote jobs. Take a look at New Orleans on the chart on the left. You'll see 32% of the jobs in the New Orleans area can be done remotely. And those jobs account for 40% of the wages. So I think there's tremendous dynamics going on, tremendous opportunities as you look at this landscape on how you can move into a different career and move up in your own. Now let's take a look at systems thinking. I don't know if you've ever heard of this. This idea was popularized by a gentleman by the name of Peter Senge in the early 1990s. And he wrote a book called The Fifth Discipline. So let's look at how systems thinking can fit into your career. He liked looking at things in terms of systems. So let's look at this, getting a job from the business standpoint, the organization standpoint. You have a gap, basically an opening between just needing an additional person. So what companies do is they go out and they get applications. So you've got either a large number of applicants or perhaps not enough applicants. And in that process, basically, if it's too many and if it's too few, it does what? It increases the search time that the company has to look for someone. And as a result, the longer the job goes unfilled. But what systems thinking is doing is saying, okay, you've got a cycle here, and they'll have to repeat this cycle if they don't find the right people. But you as the individual, as a qualified individual, can basically produce what he calls a counter cycle, a balancing force to it. So as a qualified applicant, I have found that basically most working professionals come with a great deal of experience into the job market. But what they might be lacking is perhaps the educational requirements for the job. So with the right educational experience and experiences and being known by the company, we'll talk about that one a little bit later, okay, basically you can be the counterbalance here. You're being a qualified applicant, you're reducing the search time and reducing the length of time that the job goes unfilled. This idea of being known is really an important one. If you're familiar with how applications are taken in most large companies, it's using an application tracking system. So you fill out your application online and it goes into a database. And the application tracking system basically is keeping up with this database. And when the company is ready to search for someone, it simply uses something like a Google search engine. And in that search engine, looking for certain keywords, and top candidates come to the top. Well, you may or may not have used the correct search words in that process, okay? So, and to give you an example of why being known is so important, I had a student of mine who wanted to work at a bank, a major bank that took in a lot of applications and simply went through this process here, put in the application and didn't hear anything. You've heard of that before. So eventually, a little frustrated by that, but then met someone who, another classmate, who was a branch manager, who knew the HR director, and basically called the HR director and said, hey, at least, take a look at this person, interview them. They interviewed him, and he got the job. What he later found out was he was number 1,180 on the list. So there can be thousands of applicants right ahead of you that you simply will never be known. So this idea is very important in systems thinking, as well as we'll look at later on in looking at what colors your parachute. Both of these promote this idea. Let's look at some of the laws. There are several, but there are two that are really important here. The law number 2, the harder you push, the harder the system pushes back. And this is key. You put out 10 or 20 applications and you get no response. So you decide I'm going to put out 50 or 100. Maybe I need to do 200 applications. You simply keep pushing, pushing, pushing. And basically you're either not getting a response or getting more rejections. That system doesn't work. Instead, take a look at law number 8. Here's what Singay is saying at this one, that small changes can produce bigger results, but they've got to be in areas that are high leverage. So instead of being disappointed with the system and trying to change the system, look at how you can change your response to the system. What are the small changes that you can make? Okay, perhaps you don't have the education that you need for that job you really want. Go back to school and get it. Perhaps you need other work experience. Okay, perhaps you need to be better known by the company. So law number 8 says, look at how you can change yourself and how you respond to it rather than trying to change the system. Now, system thinking also says there's some reasons we do not learn. This whole concept of I am my position syndrome. What it means by that is, think about it. When you introduce yourself to someone or someone introduces them to you, we often say our name, who we are, I did this, and we also say what we do. So we connect a position with who we are. That can be basically can hold you back from changing your careers. If you so identify with your job, it will be difficult for you to change your career or to do something different. The other thing holding us back is we think of the problem as being out there rather than being within us. We can't change what's out there. It's external, but we can change what is internal, and that is we can change ourselves and how we respond to it. What else is holding us back? Sometimes we fixate on events. And by fixating on events, perhaps something happened at a previous job, something happened in another interview, and by bringing those things into the current interview and current job search, basically you're hurting yourself. It's very negative. And finally, this illusion of taking charge. Taking charge, we all want to take charge, basically, and that's part of the reason why you're here today. But there can be an illusion to it. Whenever we're reacting to the past, basically this is a reactionary action. What we need to be doing is looking forward and being proactive in our efforts to change things. What is your mindset? The work of Carol Dweck, I think, is incredibly powerful. She wrote a book in 2006 titled Mindset, The Psychology of Success. So what I'd like to do is to share that with you. Here's what she said. She said that we either have a fixed mindset or we have a growth mindset. And in a fixed mindset, we assume that abilities, our intellect, our skills, and our talents, they're all fixed. We're born with those. But in a growth mindset, these abilities, the talents, the intellect, all these skills, they can be developed. So you're going to fall in one category or the other, according to Carol Dweck. Now, a fixed mindset individual is going to look at success and say that means not failing. But a growth mindset individual is going to say failing is simply part of growing and learning is a part of growing. So totally different definitions on what it means to fail. A fixed mindset individual you're going to hear these kind of comments, and you may have said these yourself. This is too hard. And she's just smarter than me. I've never been good at this. So these are common expressions. But in a growth mindset, what are you going to hear? You're going to hear things like, this will be challenging, but I'll keep at it. I'm on the right track, just don't have it yet. Tomorrow, I'll get a fresh look at this. So you can see the difference, the negative voice and the positive voice as you go through these two different mindsets. Now, once again, a fixed mindset individual has a drive for approval. A fixed mindset individual needs to prove themselves to others. They are worried about looking dumb, And if I fail, that's what's going to happen. If I have to exert a lot of effort, then it's a bad thing. Why? Because it means I don't have the, the intelligence naturally. I've got to work at it. But a growth mindset individual is going to say, I need to grow. I need to learn. Drive. But driving them is this idea of developing, not just personally, but driving them is the need to develop professionally. Instead of worried about looking dumb, they're interested in what they're going to learn. And instead of effort being a bad thing, effort is a good thing. Effort's what makes you smarter to a growth mindset individual. You've got to change your mindset. This is not easy. You've got to recognize when these two voices are talking to you, the fixed and the growth, the negative and the positive. And you've got to challenge that fixed mindset voice. And how do you do that? Accept new challenges at work. If you're going back to school, that's certainly a new challenge. And it's going to be a challenge that'll take you a year or two, wherever you are in the program. Okay. Take on new projects at work. It's another way of accepting new challenges and changing your mindset. So how do you change it? You've got to change the image that you have of yourself. You've got to replace the word failing with the word learning. So, and it takes a conscious effort to do that. Let's take a look at what color is your parachute. A gentleman by the name of Richard Bowles in 1970 wrote this work. Excellent book. It's 50 years old, but here's the good thing. He has been updating this work ever since. And I think the most recent edition is 2017. So let's see what Bowles has to say. The thesis of his book is this, is that the one who gets hired is not necessarily the one who can do the job the best, but it's the one who knows the most about how to get hired. And what he does in his book is just that. He spends his time taking you through basically what you need to be thinking about in order to position yourself to be the one who knows how to get hired. So what he proposes in his book, it's very simple. Go after any organization that interests you, whether or not they have a job vacancy. Go after those organizations. So rather than going after 500, applications you put out, okay, in with different companies, or 100, he basically is saying, bring it down to maybe a dozen organizations, maybe 24 at the most. Learn about those companies, okay? And as you begin to learn about those companies, he also takes you through the process of learning about yourself and what you want. The only thing that you can really control here, according to Bowles, and this too fits what's going on in systems thinking with Cengage, the only thing you can control is basically yourself and your own job search. The rest of it is external and beyond your control. Bowles took a look at the effectiveness of different ways of getting a job. He looked at the internet and he said it's only about 4% effective. He looked at union membership and it's 22% effective. Job leads, 33% effective. Even knocking on any door is 47% effective. That's almost 12 times more effective than the internet. Why would he think knocking on any door is more effective? Because when you knock on a door, whether or not they have a vacancy or not, they are getting to know you. They're getting to know you personally and professionally on how you approach them and how you respond. Probably more than anything, they'll tell you they don't have anything and you need to go online and apply. That's fine. But at least they're going to see your professional demeanor and how you handle that. And they will and they may have something and they may have an opportunity to talk. But remember, you've got to get through gatekeepers at any organization. The parachute approach is what he recommends, and this is his approach. And what he's saying here is you've got to know the companies. You get to decide where you want to work. And you do that by knowing them. You do that by knowing yourself, okay? And you do it by knowing how to get the job. Let's take a look at his parachute approach. He says it begins with a self-inventory in 7 different areas. So let's look at the areas that he's recommending that you assess. What is your field of interest? Do you know really what you're interested in? Nothing worse. I've probably done 2,000 interviews, job interviews in my life. And when the applicant doesn't know what they're interested in and what they want out of a job and what they want to do, you really can't be of a great deal of help. So what is your field of interest? What type of culture do you like to work in? What I mean by work culture, some organizations are very structured. You might like working in a structured organization. That's fine. You like all the rules and regulations, okay? Because it's just comforting. Other people want more freedom, perhaps, in their job. They want more of an ad hoc or an entrepreneurial work culture. Others want basically a market oriented or results oriented work culture. So you've got to think about what type of culture you perform best in. A very important one here that Bowles talks about in his work is you've got to separate what I can do from what I love to do, okay? And what he means by that, there are some things you can do. Perhaps the job that you're currently in right now, you can do it, but you don't love doing it, okay? And that's why you might be looking at a career change or moving up. You might love doing a job, but at the same time, you cannot perform the job right now. Why? Because you might be either missing the experience or you're missing the educational requirements. So the ideal is to find something that you can do and that you love doing. We'll come back to this in just a moment. Working conditions. What are your favorite working conditions? Okay, think about these. Be willing to talk about it. Levels of responsibility. Typically, we know that salary and responsibility go together. So if you're willing to accept more responsibility, I'm sure the salary is going to be there. Where do you prefer to live? What place? And what are your goals, your purpose, and your mission in life? So very powerful work by Bowles. Key takeaways for him are this. Is you want to look at your past. You want to look at the jobs that you've held, not just jobs, but other things you've done, maybe volunteer service. And you want to break down that experience into what's called transferable skills or competencies is another way of phrasing it. And then once you know what you're good at, what you really enjoy doing, okay, then you can begin to build a new career in the future based upon those skills, those competencies. What's a competency? Leadership is a competency. Problem solving is a competency. We'll talk more about these, but that's what he means by that. Look at your past, understand your competencies, then start building a future, a new career based upon what you love doing and what you're good at. The result, as he says, you get to choose where you want to work and you get to choose what you're going to be doing. And finally, let's look at steering the car. Remember, this is about navigating your career. What do we mean by CAR? We mean circumstances, actions, and results. It's an acronym. So what you want to do, you get the interview. You want to steer that interview toward your competencies that you're good at. And you want to do so using this approach. Now, this is a behavioral style interview. And we've all familiar with those. You may not have realized it at the time. But in a behavioral style interview, you're going to get questions like, tell me a time when, and they'll then fill it in with the competency, when you had to lead a group. Tell me a time or tell me a situation in which you have had to handle conflict, okay? So they're asking about your past behavior in order to get an idea if you've got the competency and also to get an idea of what you're going to do in the future. So using the CAR approach, we look at it this way. What are the circumstances you found yourself in? Now you do this for each competency, okay, that you're thinking about, that you really enjoy. What were the circumstances you found yourself in? What's the situation? What's the context of it? And then you want to describe that well enough, be specific, be concise, okay? Talk about your responsibilities and what really the challenges were for you with that circumstance. Let's spend a little bit more time on the competencies, okay? I have pulled here, this is a recent human resource manager's posting on Indeed. You'll see the company's W.R. Grayson Company in Baton Rouge, and they're looking for someone, HR manager. Look at the competencies. You can find this in almost any well-written job description. They need this individual to develop organizational strategies. They need them to provide leadership, to drive an implementation of basically a plan. They need someone who can coordinate, someone who can create a positive culture, someone who's good at negotiations. So if this is your area, if you've got some history in developing strategies and leading others, you want to tell a story for each one of these. I recommend at least 3 to 5 competencies. You should have a story that illustrates your ability to do those. If you look on the left-hand side, you'll see some competencies that are pretty common, okay? Pretty common in almost any job. Everybody wants you pretty much to know that you can work with a team. Problem solving is important. Taking initiative and leadership, great competencies perhaps you can talk about. Interpersonal skills, and going along with that, conflict resolution, okay? And working under pressure or under stress. So these are the typical type competencies you'll come across. After you describe the situation, you then talk about the action. What did you do exactly? And be sure the action is demonstrating the competency you're getting across, okay? If you are leading, say exactly what you did to lead, and then come back and talk about what were the results of your actions. How did you contribute to the outcome? So very powerful system called CAR. Now, I like turning CAR into CARE. I like adding an E to this acronym. And the E stands for evaluating your actions, because the actions that you're taking may have happened last month, last year, or even 5 years ago. But a lot has transpired since then. You've had time to reflect on what you've done and on that situation. Okay, you've learned other things. You've had other experiences. So with the E portion of this, okay, with the evaluation, what I think the employer would be looking for here is you to demonstrate that perhaps you might do some things different this time, that you've learned from that experience and you've learned how to even handle it better. And if that's the case, bring this into it. I think any employer would welcome this. So let me wrap this up and give you some key takeaways from my entire presentation. I believe the time is right. I believe the changes that are going on in the labor market today are powerful, unprecedented changes. But at the same time, I think if you're looking to change careers and move up, this is also a good time with this uncertainty. Second, what we learned from systems thinking is that small changes can produce big results. And the highest leverage comes not from trying to change someone else, but how do we change ourselves? What can we do to better improve our chances in the job market? And what we learned from Carol Dweck is to have a growth mindset, okay? In a growth mindset, basically learning is a process, growing is a process, and developing professionally is what you're striving for. So take on a growth mindset rather than a fixed mindset. What we've learned from Richard Bowles in What Color's Your Parachute is you can work for any company that you want to and any career that you want. You've got to position yourself. You've got to understand who the companies are, and you've got to understand yourself and go out and get the skills and the education that you need. And finally, using the CAR approach for interviews. Tell your story. Everyone loves a story. And if you can talk about your competencies in a story fashion and also demonstrate that you've learned, I think you're well ahead of most people who are going to be in the job market. Kristen, I'm turning it back to you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Dupont, for that great information about how to level up your career. I know that our students definitely can appreciate some of these methods, and I hope that you are all able to utilize these as we transition through this COVID-19 environment. So LSU Online offers our students the same high quality degrees as on-campus students. From application to graduation, the LSU Online experience is like no other. We offer guaranteed admissions through our pathway options, and we have dedicated team members to assist you in the journey to becoming an LSU graduate. We not only want you to be a student, but we do want you to graduate. So from online distance learning options to microcredits, certificate programs, bachelor degrees, and graduate degrees, we offer a large range of areas of study, and we're continuously onboarding new classes and programs. We also offer prior learning assessments so that our students can utilize their real world and their life experiences and turn those into college credit as well. Can you go to the next slide?
Is it not fast going forward? There we go.
Thank you. So our world-class customer service is second to none. Every student who contacts us is going to be assigned their very own enrollment concierge. We are a direct source for everything LSU Online and your primary point of contact for anything on campus or campus resources. We can provide you information about all of the university's resources like financial aid, scholarship, payment plans, online tutoring, and even career services. Once you're getting close to graduation, our career service department can help build a resume and even get you to participate in some of the on-campus interview days. Our goal is really just to make this journey as smooth as possible for you guys so that you can focus on your education to meet your career goals. We can also let you know how to purchase tickets to sporting events. So hopefully you can eventually experience a Saturday night in LSU's Tiger Stadium known as Death Valley. So as an online student, you still are going to be considered an LSU student, and we want you to be able to participate in anything that a regular student who is attending on campus would be eligible for as well. So we have a ton of different bachelor's degrees. One of our many Bachelor's of Science degrees offered is going to be the Business Administration degree program. And in a world of business, managers do play a crucial role, especially in the current environment we are experiencing with COVID. So LSU Alexandria through LSU Online is equipping students with our Bachelor's of Science in Business Administration program with the tools needed to evaluate and improve business practices with sound scientific and financial knowledge. So as a student in the Bachelor's of Science in Business Administration program, you'll gain a broad exposure to the most important areas of business. And Dr. Dupont's going to tell us a little bit more about the concentrations and the accreditations of LSU Alexandria.
Okay, thank you, Kristen. Yes, I would love to. The BS in Business Administration is incredibly popular. It's a great program. It will prepare you well for any career in business that you're thinking about. So we have a basically one that is just in general business, or if you wish, you can start concentrating in a particular part of one of the fields of business. For example, also very popular is a concentration in management. We find that is very well received by our students. I'm the professor of management, so if that was your area, then I would be your advisor, and I would be teaching you some of those classes. Also, we have popular is our concentration in marketing. We've got some great instructors in marketing. We are moving as much as possible into digital marketing, and that too is a great area that prepared. We do internships at LSU Alexandria, and I get more requests for marketing internships than for almost anything else. Other areas of concentration is management information systems. We have a great concentration that we're continuing to build in international business. So if you're interested in what's going on internationally, we've got a wonderful program in that. We've got finance as well. So think about our finance program if you're interested in it. And we're going to be expanding hopefully into human resources and into financial analysis in the near future. As far as the accreditation, we received last year an accreditation. This is a national accreditation from ACBSP. That's the Accreditation Council for Business and School Programs. Basically what this accreditation does, it assures you that our teaching is excellent and that we have got in place systems to continuously improve our program. And that's what the accreditation process does. We are a teaching university. We focus on learning outcomes for our students and preparing you as best as possible for the real world. With our degrees, basically students can not only go into different work fields, but many of them go on and get their graduate degree, their MBAs. So tremendous amount of potential. Kristen?
Thank you so much, Dr. Dupont. So if you want to go on to the next slide. So this is just has a link to our website. And as I mentioned earlier, we do have a wide variety of offerings. So please visit our website for more information about our offerings, as well as how to apply for any of the programs, especially the business administration program that we talked about today. Next slide. So you can always reach any of our team members between the hours of 7:30 a.m. and 7:30 p.m. You can reach us by phone or by email, and very soon we will have live chat available on our website as well. We do have social media. You can send messages through our social media as well, and we'll get those sent over to the correct coordinator or concierge to better assist you. Next slide. Okay, so we're to the questions now. I believe that there are some in the chat as well as one in the Q&A. I'll go ahead and take this first one from Miss Ellen, and let's see. So Miss Ellen is asking, let's see, I'll just go ahead and read what she put. Hi there, thank you for offering this webinar today. I'm actually struggling with what's next in my career, and I'm not sure what sort of certificate program to pursue. I'm going to take the advice of doing the parachute inventory, but do you have any other suggestions for helping to narrow down a field of study? And is there one place I can go to see everything that LSU offers online? So yes, Ellen, if you want to go to online.lsu.edu, you can go to the first tab in the drop down to view all of our programs. You can see every course that we're offering currently. As far as what's next in your career, you can always give us a call to get connected to one of our enrollment concierges or even me, and we can assist you with any previous coursework that you attended and or that you studied, and any prior learning assessments that might be available to you in order to see what is the next clear path for you. Dr. Dupont, do you have anything to add to that as far as what would be next for her once she'd look at the parachute inventory?
Yeah, absolutely. Take a look at the competencies. So you do want to look at your different fields of interest. That is a decision you need to make. But at the same time, you need to think about, what am I really good at? Are you good at working with people? Are you good at working with numbers? Are you good at leading others? Or would you prefer to evaluate perhaps something in compliance as opposed to managing? So don't forget to look at the competencies. Drill down to which ones you think you're really good at and that you've really got a passion for. So I would recommend that in addition to looking at the different fields of interest.
Okay, it looks like our next couple questions are going to be from Ree. So how do you start a portfolio for prior learning credits? So once you'd reach out to us and kind of get connected to LSU Online, you'd be connected to Enrollment Concierge, and we would help you with the degree program that you're interested in providing what PLAs we're currently offering as prior learning prior learning assessments, so that way you could get, college credit for those certificates. And it looks like you have another question that is asking about, does LSU have a small business center for helping small business owners? So the LSU Baton Rouge campus does have a small business incubator program, so we could definitely get you connected to them if you had any additional questions, that you'd want answered specifically with them. If you just reach out to LSU Online, we can get that information sent over to you. We have another question that says, what age does the state of Louisiana allow a person to attend college for free, and would this apply to LSU Online? So there is laws through the state of Louisiana. I believe that the age is 55, but unfortunately LSU Online is considered a specialty degree program option, so those benefits do not qualify to LSU Online, unfortunately, but they do qualify for our state colleges on campus. Let's see. There's another question about what are the most pandemic-proof careers? Dr. Dupont, do you want to take that one?
Yes, if you go back to one of the slides I showed early on, under the career landscape, the University of Chicago looked at these fields that you can do remotely. For example, education. 80% of the jobs in education can be done virtually, can be done remotely. Anything in management, most management jobs, professional capacity jobs, jobs in finance and information. Look at those particular industries and you'll see 70 to 80% of the jobs there can be done virtually. And you're going to find those are also some of their higher paying jobs as well.
Okay, perfect. We have a few more questions as well. This one is coming in from Brandy. I am working in an accounts payable role for this area for about a year now, and I'm interested in getting certifications from my current role. What approach am I needing to pursue that without any prior training and eventually getting into your accounting program? So our accounting program is actually through LSU Alexandria as well. As far as some next steps for you, if you wanted to get some certificates, I'd highly recommend looking at our website, the accounting microcredit programs. We do have an introduction to accounting as well as advanced accounting. So fundamentals and advanced, and then also an auditing microcredit. So depending on, accounts payable, you may want to check in to those three to see which one would best benefit you. If you have any additional questions or would like some further assistance, feel free to contact LSU Online, and one of our enrollment concierges will definitely walk you through those different options.
Kristen, if I can add to that.
Yes, sir.
We have, over at LSU Alexandria, we have got an incredible BS in accounting. I have just been amazed at the reception that this online program has received. It is coordinated by Dr. Kent Lashney, and he has done an excellent job. He is the CPA himself. And basically, the program that we have will give you all the educational requirements, will help you meet those with the state of Louisiana, and basically I think will prepare you very well for the exam. So he's very knowledgeable. I would encourage you, reach out to one of the concierges at LSU Online, and you can follow up with Dr. Lashney. He'll be able to answer any technical questions you may have, but it has been well received and growing tremendously.
Thank you, Dr. Dupont. I have a few more questions that look like they've come in the regular chat as well. How do I find out who my concierge is? So if you want to reach out to the 833-280-5634 LSU Online phone number, one of our coordinators will answer the phone and they can help connect you to your concierge if they have not reached out to you yet. Let's see. Is there an online program in the music field from Eddie? Currently, we do not have an online program in the music field, but do keep an eye out on our website. We are working on what we call some Da Vinci degrees that are going to be a combination of those arts and technology and utilizing that in today's society. So keep an eye out for those Da Vinci degrees, as that may fit exactly what you're looking for, Eddie. And let's see, it looks like we have a few more. With so many people available in the market, it makes it difficult to ask for the same salary I was previously receiving. I'm taking an online course to add to my existing degree and licenses. I do believe it will assist me in my job search, but how do I approach the salary issues when employers can hire a 20-year-old for half of the salary? This is coming in from Angela. Dr. Dupont, do you want to take this one?
Sure. It's a difficult situation you face. It's a very good question. I've always taken the position that you need to sometimes, you can improve your skills, absolutely, in your education and what you contribute, but you've got to show the organization how you can add value, okay, to it, the organization. Sometimes it's a question of redoing the job description. I have worked in organizations where I look at the job description, I show it to the employee, and the employee almost doesn't recognize it. It hasn't been updated in a very long time. So if you cannot necessarily basically, bring your salary up, I think what you need to look at doing is bringing up the value of the job. And the job description may not be up to date. Look at updating that. look at demonstrating the additional value that you're creating, okay? And then because organizations pay the job is what they do. So you might need to focus on redefining or getting it reclassified.
Okay, and Emmanuel, you're asking, let's see, if you're a current LSU online continuing education student, where can you find access to the resources available, like the sporting events? If you want to just contact LSU Online, we can get you connected to the CE team or one of our concierges, and they can help you with more information about resources that are available to you, like sporting tickets and those things. Let's see. Miss Wendy is asking, do you have early childhood education? I could not find the program. I love working with kids. I'm currently an ESL paraprofessional. So Miss Wendy, if you look on our website, I do know that we have a special education program that's for teachers that want to get certified in special education. If you're looking for something as far as becoming a teacher, we are working with Go Teach, which is a Louisiana organization that helps students with bachelor's degrees become teachers. We can definitely give you some more information on that if you reach out to LSU Online. And this question is coming in from Ashley. Can the microcredit courses offered for accounting be used to get your CPA? Do you know what states would recognize these credits and take them? So Ashley, in your situation, we recommend that you reach out to your state CPA licensing board first. They'll let you know how many hours of coursework you need, and if those microcredits would allow you to get all of those hours. They do definitely prepare students for the CPA exam. In the state of Louisiana, our students can get the microcredits and then test for the CPA exam. That is just something you'll have to look into with your specific state's licensing board. If you have any issues with that, feel free to reach out to LSU Online. One of our concierges can definitely help you look into that to see what would be the best situation for you, if you should go for the full bachelor's of accounting or if the microcredit program would work for you. And I think that is all of our questions that we have. I'm going to check our Q&A box one more time.
Kristen, while you're doing that, let me also mention to you, we're in the process right now, this is not approved yet, but we are looking in the process of developing a post-bac for basically in accounting. For students who have a degree but want to go on into accounting, they can take additional hours, the accounting hours that's needed in our post-bac program. It's not approved yet, but it's in the works. So we're looking forward to it.
Okay, so it looks like we just had one other question about the slideshow. So yes, you will all be receiving, anyone who's attended, you'll be receiving a copy of the recorded webinar with all of the slides that you can go back to look on. And again, all the Q&A will be posted in there as well. We have one more question that came in from Mary Clay. Is the Master's of Healthcare Administration a good degree that is in demand? So I mainly work, Mary, with the undergraduate programs. For the master's degree specifically, I don't know if Dr. Dupont has anything to add, but I do know that our degrees are highly recognized and ranked nationally. So I would definitely reach out to LSU Online, one of our enrollment concierges that works specifically with the Masters of Healthcare Administration would be able to give you more information about the return of investment of getting started in that degree program. Dr. Dupont, do you have anything to add?
No, not on healthcare administration. It is a popular field, but I wouldn't know.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, Mary, I would definitely reach out to LSU Online. And like I said, we do have concierges that work specifically with that program that would be able to divulge more information about the growth of it and the career opportunities. And again, as an LSU Online student, you are accessible to the LSU Olin Career Center, and they can definitely help you with finding a job in any of these fields that you guys are interested in studying in. I don't believe that we have any other questions at this time. I'll go ahead and give it Or let's see, it looks like we have two more that came in. So this is from Dolores. I have been in the insurance field for over 10 years. I have been a claims adjuster for the past 3 years. What program should I go into? So Dolores, in your situation, like I said, I would recommend reach out to LSU Online so we can get you one-on-one assistance to do a deep dive into your work experience as well as any education experience or past courses that you've taken to get a better idea for what program would best fit your needs at this time. And then this is another question from Marie. After graduation and upon taking the LSU CPA test, I saw that we need to complete additional hours. Can we take those hours as a minor while earning the BS? Dr. Dupont, do you know anything about the CPA exam here in Louisiana and
Well, I
those
did
additional hours?
150 hours altogether. So I would, if someone with LSU Online couldn't answer that question, I would recommend Dr. Kent Lashney with our office. He is the coordinator of the county program. He is up to date on all the requirements, educational requirements and credit number requirements. So, and he is, his email is klashney, KLACHNEY at lsua.edu.
Perfect. And it looks like we had another question come in through the chat. This is from Catherine. My registration status says that I can't register because of not yet being advised. I am enrolling in finance. Who do I contact? So Catherine, if you can please give us a call or shoot us an email at the LSU Online at lsu.edu email address, or call in at 833-280-5634. We can get you connected to a learner concierge, and they will be with you to better assist you with any questions relating to enrolling and scheduling and advising. So just give us a call or shoot us an email and we can get a learner concierge in touch with you as soon as possible. Let's see, I'm going to check one more time for questions. It doesn't look like we have any additional questions, so thank you guys so much for attending. We definitely appreciate you all taking time out of your day to learn more about leveling up your career and navigating a career through COVID-19. Thank you, Dr. Dupont, for the great information that you've shared. And all of you, please stay tuned in your email. You will receive a recording of the presentation. So have a great rest of your day. And if there's anything that we can help you all with, please reach out to LSU Online. That is what we're here for. We want you guys to be successful in your academic goals and your career goals for the future.
Thank you. Wish everyone the best in their career.